there are plans that don't go accordingly.
We just passed the 20-mile marker. So once we get over this hill right here, we lose cell service. So from this point out, it's catching your own water or hauling your own water.
That was just very stressful, short period of time.
You never really know how long the power's gonna be out for.
Are we going to lose like everything we built up this far? Like, are we gonna be homeless?
It's just like a razor's edge that people stay on.
Or like learning the hard way.
I'm like the type of person that if somebody tells me you can't do this or it's not possible, I'm like, why? And if they don't have a really good reason why, I'm gonna go out and find out why. All right, so here we are. Welcome to Windfall Farm.
Way out in the Tongass rainforest, you could get lost on your way to Windfall Farm. And with just one long road to civilization, making a living is its own kind of adventure.
You just have to be willing to do away with some of the creature comforts or some of the things that you might be more habituated to. But yeah, there's plenty of space here in Alaska, especially for the open-minded, industrious type person. You can make a meal out of it.
Whoa, look at these things.
Those are so huge.
Look at the size of that.
Wow.
Look at that, it's like bigger than my head.
I get excited about opening these boxes. Yes, please.
Oh, they smell so good, smell them. Oh, it smells like a tomato.
When you grew up here, you wouldn't have seen like fresh grown produce necessarily.
We get shipped the worst stuff.
It's essentially 95% of the food in Alaska is imported.
So it's never really picked at the peak of ripeness.
I grew up loathing produce. Like salad was like pulling teeth to get me to eat salad because the greens were like bland, there's tomatoes that just tasted like water.
But while working a summer job at a greenhouse, Eli realized he had a knack for growing things, and he turned his attention to food.
Tomatoes actually have a flavor, and who knew it was actually really good, and it makes your mouth water. And cucumbers are actually like sweet, that there is actually a big difference between something that's grown in a healthy soil and harvested at the peak of its freshness as opposed to something you get from the grocery store.
Eli started doing more of his own gardening and doing container gardening as well as some hydroponics.
I ended up with way too many cucumbers and I couldn't sell them all, and zucchini. And so I went to Zerelda's, and that started a really good relationship for us. I can go to them with pretty much any produce. I can tell them whatever I have available. They'll be like, yeah, we want X amount of pounds.
Newly married, Kylie and Eli set up a little farm stand in Juneau to sell their produce. And before too long, folks were asking if they too could sell what they were growing in their backyard gardens.
We thought that maybe a market facilitated towards local produce to make it a consistent year-round available thing for people was the way.
To make it a viable option for somebody to make a living growing produce here. And so having a place to sell it, because growing it, as I was finding out, took all of the time and it was a completely different mindset.
Thinking about how food security not only matters, but is actually vital to building resilient communities, and how Southeast specifically, even with the climate as harsh as it might be or unpredictable as it might be, if we had a shipment that's late within like 3 days time, the shelves will be like barren. When COVID hit, that was kind of like an extreme case example. Well, it's actually a matter of our survival and our sustainability here as a community. So this is our store. When we first opened our store, we only had maybe like 6 or so producers at that time, including ourselves, but eventually we had so much product coming in, we were like having to put things on the floor, and it was just getting to the point where we realized, okay, the retail side is actually what is growing. And now we've expanded it to where it's a much more community-centric, almost like a farmer's market in a store.
Hey, Don. Hey, morning. How's it going today? What do you got for us?
All right, carrots.
Carrots.
Yeah.
Pop them on there. Let's see where we're at.
Guess 5.
8.36.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're growing. They get bigger every time they come in.
Yeah, those harvests do better for you. This time of the year especially too. Mine are going crazy.
They'll sell good, I think.
Yeah, they'll eat good.
We have small producers in their own backyard gardens. We have people who are indoor producers who are, either new or experienced. We've also got seasoned farmers who've been doing this for decades. And as long as at the end of the day, the source is from Alaska, that's what we want. That is our bread and butter.
Kylie and Eli make it simple for everyone to grow and make good money doing it. Producers set their own prices and keep 70% of the profits. Those cherry tomatoes are the most beautiful. They're like little gems.
They are sweet like candy. And then we have
cutest cucumber.
Right?
Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh, these are also the world's cutest zucchini.
These ones are actually really, really delicious too.
Really?
The smaller and the more tender. They'll specifically scout after these ones.
Wow, I will specifically scout, but I have a feeling
Tricks
I
of
might
the
not.
trade. Brought to you by our customers who are very savvy like that. It's just a fun time of the year. We have so much variety this time of the season.
Yes.
It's such a short season,
Right.
but the abundance of the local Alaska-grown bounty is really impressive.
Not long after Panhandle Produce opened its doors, they realized they needed room to grow even more.
I bought this greenhouse. I found it on Facebook Marketplace for $1,000, and it's big. It's like a 24 by 48.
And I had
Right.
to take it down, and it was growing in like hip-high grass.
Right.
And so that was a trial, just losing all those little nuts and bolts that kept falling off and popping off and falling in the grass. Like, well, that's gone.
When they finally got it back to their home in the suburbs of Juneau, they hit another speed bump.
There's actually a building codes ordinance that would be in violation of if we were to put up
Neighbors
the
were
structure.
complaining to the city.
There's literally no land that is designated as agricultural use. There's no zoning code that exists for that. And that was where we started to think about it in terms of like, okay, so where within Juneau can we actually do this?
Just gotta get over our little bridge. I can see the goats there waiting for us.
This is our happy place. This is magical out here. We used to come back here for summers from college, and we'd drive out this way. But we were always like, man, wouldn't it be amazing if we could live out here one day? And I don't see a lot of people our age, honestly, here trying to get into farming.
Just so many obstacles in the way that made us really like have to question almost like, but did we make the right choice?
I think there was
by
even a
coming out
point
here?
where we were like, we need to look at somewhere else because
Yeah.
we might not be able to actually buy this place.
After a few hard years building their farm while renting the land, they finally qualified for an agricultural loan from the state of Alaska. And Eli and Kylie are now the proud owners of Windfall Farm.
It's technically 8.5 acres, but there's 6 of it is in a conservation easement. We've been putting a lot of work in, like a lot of really, really hard work in to get it to a production facility and the point where we can give people tours and educate about growing and producing in our environment.
While Alaska natives have lived off the land for thousands of years, agriculture doesn't come easy there. In the time of the glaciers, the land was stripped of its topsoil, and only a thin layer of silt, sand, and rock remains.
So really, farming and gardening here is about creating your own soil and maintaining the tilth of it. And that's something I've definitely had to figure out on our farm because we're on the edge of a bog, and anything you dug into just created a little pond. So that was definitely a big learning curve.
It was a lot of reading. I learned through trial and error. There's no mistakes, there's no failures. It's just like the next step forward.
Based on what we're doing and what our goals are for the end game, which is to be self-sufficient and to contribute in a way that promotes food security in our community and like makes that more accessible to everybody who lives here. There's like this whole other demographic or our next generation who will ultimately continue to broaden that and to create, a greater impact long term. That's what I want to see. I think we've both really grown into just, we've already had this attachment to loving growing up here. So it's kind of a special thing for us to feel like we're kind of more connected to the sense of the place that we decided to continue to make our home. Yep, this is a little farmhouse charcuterie board, I guess, including also the caprese on the far end there with our tomatoes and freshly made mozzarella, just made yesterday.
Oh my God.
And then we have some of our garlic and chive chevre with some of that smoked salmon from earlier. Delicious. And then we've got some, this here is a Colby style cheddar that Eli did. And then this one is a farmhouse cheddar. So different styles.
It's just the different curing styles. Also, this one takes seasonings a lot better.
Yeah.
And so we did a garden herb with that one.
It's beautiful. It looks almost like marble.
Right.
Really good.
And then, so apart from that, we also have some of our Oma's zucchini pickles, which is his Oma's recipe that we, have made ever since. They're delicious. Some of these mixed garden medley vegetables, including some Alaska-grown carrots and turnips and cucumber, and then just a little kimchi for the road. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Really good.
That's incredible. That's one of the best things I've ever eaten.
Isn't that good?
I'm not exaggerating.
That's really nice. That's really good.
It's
No,
like a
it's
masterpiece on an edible plate.
It is a masterpiece.
You kind of have to like take a moment with this kind of meal where you just are like,
Yeah.
I've been to church now.
Seriously, I don't know if I've had cheese this fresh in my life.
Yeah.
Pasteurize it really, really slowly and gently, and it's like the lightest touch that we
Right.
can have on the milk.
So it's all within less than a week of coming from the goat itself. That's
Yeah.
about as fresh as
Just
you're
like
gonna
a couple
get.
days. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I know, I just milked that goat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got her
I'm
to
gonna
milk
stick
it. Yeah.
around.
Good job, good for
Yeah.
you. It takes some skill.
Oh yeah, I don't have it.
And he does it twice a day on the shoulder of his workday. So gets up in the morning, milks the goats, and then comes home at night, milks the goats, and then makes cheese in the mornings. Which is also trash day, and we're doing like all of our regular,
There's like life that happens.
yeah,
too.
adulting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when you can make cheese this good, you just have to do it. You have to do it when
It's a compulsion. I really enjoy it.
The Alaskan ethos is an independent ethos. There's enough space for everybody. There's enough space for you to make your own way. There's a lot of hardship. There's a lot of problems to deal with and stresses on a day-to-day basis. But overall, it's really, really rewarding. I could really tell that growing up that there was this big community, and I've spent my life to this point just trying to figure out where is my spot in that community. And with this, I really feel like that I've found it.